Nash.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. Mr Chair, there are a couple of points I just want to reiterate, but not in any great way, shape or form. As mentioned, Section 230, it required someone who is filing for an R&D tax loss to do so by electronic means. And I suppose the point I was just about to make is I suspect you can make an assumption that those who are applying for R&D tax losses are involved in the sort of industry or have a means of communication which allows them to do it electronically. I suppose the point I just want to make is that we do run a very slight risk of sort of slowing the integrity and diminishing the integrity of the tax system a little bit if we are so prescriptive that says it must be by electronic means and doesn't allow a taxpayer to do by paper means if required. For example, in clause 232, 80 kV, this is a replacement of the Tax Administration Act, where this is about calculating family support. There is no requirement there either way to do it by electronic or paper. Therefore, the assumption is that it can be done by in any way, shape or form. So, like I said, we have to be careful about making it too prescriptive. Mr Chair, I'd also like to talk about Section 232B. There is an assertion after Section 81(4)(u). Now, we debated this quite a bit at Select Committee because what this is talking about is actually how innovative or R&D proprietary information is communicated in a way that the IRD is certain that it is available for a tax credit. And the thing that we raised, and we discussed quite a lot here, and the members of the government remember this, and they may have their own views, but the concerns that we raised, and I do remember a number in particular, Mr Bailey in particular was quite vocal about this, is what we're dealing with in this country is sometimes very innovative and proprietary technology. We want to get the R&D tax credit, but the thing that really concerned the committee was the lack of trust is a wrong word, but we were concerned that what would happen is innovative companies would not apply for this R&D tax credit because they were unsure that the integrity of the process was total, i.e. if you are telling someone in Callaghan Innovation, which, let me quote this, communicating to an officer, employee or agent of Callaghan Innovation information for the purpose of administrating this Act, and Callaghan Innovation was the organisation put forward by the IRD that would determine whether this was compliant or this was able, the organisation was able to draw down an R&D tax credit. We were concerned that there is the possibility that the integrity of the process might be compromised. So I just want to note that. In the end, we obviously left it in the bill. There was consensus in the end, but we just need to be a little bit careful. The other thing also is Part W says, communicating to an officer, employee or agent of the department that is with the authority of the Prime Minister for the time being responsible for the administration of the Research, Science Technology Act. It's a little bit clumsy. I mean, all it says is we're going to do this for a little bit and then we're going to change it. Not an ideal way to do tax legislation, considering one of the fundamental tenets of tax legislation is that it's easy to administer, it's easy to understand, and there are no fishhooks. That just signifies that even though we're encoding this in new legislation, in fact, it's probably not going to be there for a long time if it says in the time being. There are a couple of other sections I'd like to talk about, Mr Chair. One is amendments to the Income Tax Act. And if you look at clause 260, there's going to be an assertion, it's CC5, this is person deriving pension from foreign superannuation scheme and returning as income before the April 1st, 2014. I'm assuming that the vast majority of electorate MPs, and probably a number of list MPs, have received delegations of constituents from countries who have superannuation schemes that are in fact a lot more generous than ours. The New Zealand government grabs them as part of the process, and the constituent, often they're Dutch actually, Dutch and Irish, that's what I found. But anyway, they seem to be disadvantaged because the government gets a hell of a lot of money from their super scheme and then gives them the amount of money from our pension scheme, and the government seems to be winning. It is a point of contention. I remember speaking to the Honourable Michael Cullen about this. Sorry. Because he lived in Napier. Not many people know when Michael Cullen was the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance, he lived in Napier the whole time. It's why Napier has absolutely flourished and come back to Labor. But anyway, And I asked Michael, is there, Mr. Chair,
I can't. Dr. David Clark.